Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Monday. I guess you know, all the days kind of blur into each other now. But yeah, happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of But Make It Fashion. And today we are continuing our month-long adventure in the elements. I know I've been doing a lot from the periodic table of elements, and today is no exception. So I do want to mention that we will be doing an element from the periodic table, and I chose a random one today. I didn't know that Siri could do this, but I asked Siri to give me a random element from the periodic table, and she did not disappoint. So yeah, we'll be doing that today. I want to say thank you for everyone who is going to come by today and show up. I love being able to do some fashion sketching with you on these afternoons during the week. A couple of, I don't know, announcements and administrative stuff. Anybody who is a backer for my Kickstarter, I'm going to be starting the fulfillment very, very soon. So I just placed a big order for supplies, and I get started soon. So I may assemble a character chronicle on Twitch one of these days. So yeah, I think that might be fun. Hello, Momming Like Molly. Welcome. Hope you're having a good Monday. Is it still raining over there? I am a little jealous because it's just been hot and humid here, so it's a little hard to cool down without the air conditioner. I might have to pop over and turn it back on, but you know, I don't like having the sound too much. Yeah, so I should switch here. Haha. So I wanted to share, if you missed the end of Friday's live stream, where I do Dungeons and Dragons monsters, and I turn them into fashion. This is the Zorn outfit that I did. It's a piece of menswear, and here is the original image. And then this is how I interpreted it, and I really, really like it. And at first, I was not going to make this in real life, but I kind of want this jacket now. So, shoot. I may have to. I don't know. I feel very silly. So that's how this one turned out, and I am really, really happy with that turned out. So this week we're doing the Onkeg, and that will be Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So if you are interested in watching another D&D but make it fashion, please come to my Twitch channel and watch it live if you would like. So yeah, that's the Zorn. And today we are doing Samarium, and I had never heard of this one, but it's one of the rare earth metals apparently, and I guess it's the least expensive of the rare earth metals. You might have heard the term rare earth magnet, so things like neodymium. That is one of the rare earths, and they make fantastic magnets. I actually have some right here. I use these in the Character Chronicle for the closure. Yeah, I had no idea that this was an element, and I really, at first I was going to say no, because we've already done a metallic outfit, a metallic element. However, I really, really liked the structure of this. It kind of looks fibrous, almost like bark, like the bark of a tree. So I like how the structure of this metal works, and I have some ideas on how I'm going to implement this in the garment. This is also apparently used, let me see if I can do some extra Googling, because I did get some interesting facts about it. Let's see. Samarium. Okay, so the crystals from this can be used, or it is used in doping calcium chloride crystals for use in optical lasers. It's also used in infrared absorbing glass, as a neutron absorber in nuclear reactors, and it's also, I thought I saw that it can be used, or has been used, in, oh, I think I found it again. Comes from Russia. I saw in one of my things that it is possible that it also is used in cancer treatments. So very, very interesting. Well, none of that is really relevant to what we're doing. We're gonna make a really slinky gown out of it today. So, hi Lion's Tooth, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I don't recall hearing that element name either. Samarium. Samarium. Apparently, it is named after the mine in Russia that it was found. Like Samar. So I don't know. I don't speak Russian. Oh, and I see the rain cleared off, so now it's hot and humid. Yeah, that's the joy of... I remember that about Colorado summer. Yeah, working outside once, that was fun. Where it would get really hot and humid after a rainstorm, and... whew, toasty. So today I am going right back to the fashionary croquis. So I'm using number 44, which is a glamour pose. I wanted this one to feel really elegant and sexy. The way that I'm imagining how this gown is going to work, I wanted it to feel very fluid because of this kind of shape, you know? If you look at it this way, it looks like it's just dripping off of the thing. It almost even looks like torn fabric at the bottom. So that's what I'm going to work on this particular on this particular outfit. New hobby for quarantine: learn Russian. That's already taken up by learning Norwegian, so I don't really want to learn 2 languages at the same time. It makes it a little difficult. Okay, so I added a new layer. I'm going to go ahead and drop the opacity of the croquis layer. It always sounds like I'm saying croquet, but I'm not. Okay, and let's go down to the right brush here. Okay, and I'm actually going to go right to the illustrating scene now. Also, I'm hoping my connection is way better to the internet today. I was able to plug directly into the router. So I found a cord that was long enough. I needed a 30-foot cord, and I found it. So okay, so like normal, whoop. Test the brush size. Also, let's not forget to put on my drawing glove. I need to make a proper drawing glove where it covers up my pinky and my ring finger. Because my pinky still hits the screen. Okay. Also, I want people to know, I am going to be taking suggestions for the August theme of the month. I know we're still in like the middle of July, but if I don't plan these things weeks in advance, I'm going to forget and then feel rushed. So let me know what you would like the theme to be for August. And also, I'm hoping to do a special event in August. I'm still trying to coordinate that, actually, with my sister who's in the audience here. I'm hoping that we can do that. We'll see. And then also, I'm going to do a special stream. Let's see, what day is that? On Thursday, July 30th. So that is my birthday. And I thought it would be fun to do a birthday stream. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to take either old childhood photos of myself and turn them into fashion, or I don't know. We'll see. So how is everyone doing today on this Monday? Did everyone have a good weekend? Yeah, also, I really want to make the arms look good today, because I will be making this a sleeveless dress. Which should be fun, so. You cleaned all weekend? Oh, I need to clean. Oof. My apartment's fine, but, like, I need to do the laundry. You went thrift shopping? Oh, that's so fun. I'm not gonna lie, there are so many great vintage and thrift shops here in California, or in my neck of the woods in LA. And I can't go to any of them right now, because like literally everything is closed. Also, like, I'm okay that everything is closed, because, you know, coronavirus sucks and I don't want to get it, but I do miss the normal things in life. Let's see. Ooh. Yeah, let's give her... Yeah. Giving her kind of a 1920s vibe here, because the gown that I'm going to make is going to be very reminiscent of the 1920s style. It's not going to be completely, like, historically accurate, but it will be indicative of that era, as well as some of the Art Deco architecture that was so popular at that time. I think the Art Deco period may be in my top 5 favorite art periods. You know, normally I don't do the hair at the beginning, but today I felt inspired. Ah. Yeah, it's good that it wasn't crowded. That's one thing that is just so nerve-wracking about going anywhere in LA, is that it doesn't matter if you're in a college town or not out here, it's packed with people. It has felt a little bit like a ghost town this week, which I think is just due to the new restrictions again, or at least the threat of new restrictions again. You just learned about Art Deco from a clothing history book. That's great. Yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned on here before, but my background is in studio arts with a focus in photography, and then I also got a degree in ecological and evolutionary biology. And so that's why you'll frequently see my many different interests showing up here. So I like to bring some art history in, and I don't know, it's fun to it's fun to bring everything together. Okay, so we have the croquis done, so I can hide that bottom layer. It's a lot less distracting now. And I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to make this current layer less opaque. Cool, 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 cool. And I'm going to bring down that. So what I want to do with this one is create a more fitted top, like a nice bodice that flares out into like almost like a flapper girl skirt, if that makes sense. That's kind of really drapey and drippy. And then I'm also going to give her some gold bracelets and like, well, maybe not any earrings. I might give her a tiara or a crown. I don't know. We'll see. No, maybe you can vote whether or not we do a crown. But yeah, I really want to mimic this, like, well, let me show you. So this more silvery block of Samarium is less oxidized. And then this one that's kind of got this coppery gold, almost like rose gold coloration. This one is oxidized Samarium. So it's really, really stunning, and I think it looks really luxe and just stunning. So I want to mimic that coloration and that shine, as well as the bottom portion of this skirt. I want it to kind of look tattered, but not like it's on purpose. So almost like a fringe, if you will. So what I was thinking is up top here, basically having straps that come down, wrap around this way, and I guess I need to figure out how I'm going to do it here. Come on. Basically right underneath the armpits. I need to make sure I fix that one. And actually, I need to make sure that I do this right. Okay. Picked it up as a hobby during the quarantine. Well, that's great. That is, I'm so glad. It's one of those things that I am really happy about, is it seems like because people have time, you know, for better or worse, people are learning new things and broadening their horizons a little bit. Okay, so this is going to make sense in a little bit. I hope. And no, this is not the silhouette. There will be clothing underneath this. I know this is kind of looking a little risque. But we'll get there, I promise. Okay, so let's imagine... No. Let's do this side first. Also, I want to make sure, is the music loud enough for you guys today? It's always hard to tell on the other side of the stream, so... Okay, good. The music is good. Ooh, I'm also gonna have to show off, I learned how to make a new Procreate brush. So now I can play with that over time for like different textures and stuff. So different fabric textures I'll actually be able to mimic a little bit better. And I made one for snakeskin. I also realized that I made the wrong line here. Cool. So we will move to the bottom portion of that soon. But this is how I want the look to be mostly. What I am going to do is continue that same like braided look all the way down. So like here. Because I like the idea of this being like braided fabric. And I haven't done a lot of detail work on these pieces, I was realizing, and like I haven't done stripes. I've done plaid. That's like the most adventurous I've gotten with detail on here. So I figured that today I could really push myself on the stream and show how I can do that. What I would like to do someday is do a floral print, which I have ideas for eventually. And another thing, so you'll notice as I'm doing these lines that overlap each other, I'm giving them a slight curve, because that's how a braid would look. It wouldn't be perfectly straight. You know, like if we did like this, that doesn't really read as well. However, like you can like, oh wow, it's a hair braid. But if you want to refine it, you need to add those curves. You know, just for that roundness. And of course, like you would want to change stuff like this. So, oh, I'm sorry that your internet is bad. Welcome to the club. I understand. I understand that a lot. Okay. And what I love, there are some fabrics that look like liquid metal. They are kind of expensive, but there's a part of me that thinks that if this turns out well, maybe I can make this one in real life as well. Yeah, so coming up in August, I did think a couple of ideas I had for the theme. Oh shoot! Did I do it again here? Gonna have to fix all of these. well. Okay, we'll fix the bottom portion of this soon. I can't get caught up down there yet if I want to make any headway on this. Yeah, so a couple of the ideas I've had for August, the big one is like fine art, but make it fashion. So taking famous paintings and creating, you know, my own artwork out of those. So let me know if you like that idea. Another one was video games, but make it fashion. So taking things like maybe from Minecraft or Portal. One thing that would be super conceptual would be like music, but make it fashion. Ooh. And also, just to let you know, Lion's Tooth, it might have been my internet. I just realized. Okay. Looks like I might have had a little bit of a surge there. Ooh, literature, but make it fashion. That could be really fun. In fact, let me write these ideas down. Theme ideas. suppose like I could do not animals, wow, animals, but make it fashion. You're like, can you see that detail from far away? No, but I know it's there. Okay, and I realized that I actually did this braid over here wrong compared to all of the other braids. So I just need to go in and clean this up, fix that one, and then we can move on to the skirt portion. Yeah, so the Art Deco period was really popular around the turn of the 20th century, so early 1900s to, I would say, about 1930 or so, even maybe close to 1940. And that's when you get things like the Chrysler Building with those really geometric shapes. You'll notice a lot of architecture built in that area, or in that era, deals with a lot of straight lines in geometry. This, if you put that in reaction to the Art Nouveau period that came just before and kind of concurrently with the Art Deco period, there was a bit of overlap because the Art Nouveau period was the late 1800s into the early 1900s. And a lot of Art Nouveau came with the Industrial Revolution when we were able to do wrought iron and create really big open spaces. You could also create really fluid shapes. Well, those two periods are definitely some of my favorite architecture and art. One of my other favorite eras would be the Impressionism era. I just think that the art that came out of that period is so romantic and just really gorgeous. Okay, see, that looks so much better. Oh, and I screwed up just this half of it on this side. How do I even do that? Like, I just get carried away or something? Oh well. You love the braided detail. Thank you. And also I see space but make it fashion. Space. Yeah, that could be really fun. Doing something with like Jupiter, comets. So another benefit of this braided fabric is that it can be extremely form-fitting because the way that it flows, you can really get it to contour the body better. Okay. Cool, cool. So if we're gonna do like a flapper dress, we're gonna want it to go no further than the kneecap. If it was, we want it to cover the kneecap because I think at this time period it was still pretty scandalous to show the knee. But the other dresses that were in the 1920s, you know, tended to pick an artist. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Anyways. I wouldn't want to go, if I did, um, I wouldn't want to go much further than the calf. There are some garments and gowns that went all the way down to the ankles, but we're not doing that on this piece. We're having a party. Like, let's think the Great Gatsby, right? Yeah, 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 that's exactly what I was thinking. Momming like Molly for the fine art, but make it fashion is choose one of the pieces from a collection. So like Frida Kahlo, Georgia O'Keeffe, um, you know, Picasso. Who knows? I would want to take. Let's see. I'd be able to do up to 8, essentially, even possibly 10, depending on. I'll have to look at how many weeks are in August. Like how many episodes I'd be able to get in August for that. But my guess is I'd be able to do about 8 pieces. Um, So I'll think about different artists. I definitely want Frida Kahlo, Georgia O'Keeffe. Those are 2 of my favorite artists. And then maybe Vincent van Gogh. Monet would be a great option. And what I could even do, depending... Let's see. I'm going to stop drawing for a second. Because what I could potentially do is find images of the actual artists themselves and use them for my croquis and do the sketch off of that, and then basically dress them in fashion inspired by their artwork. Because like Frida Kahlo had quite an interesting fashion sense. And sometimes would wear like the historical garb from where she was from. So, this gives me lots of ideas. Oh, entire collection of episodes on pieces from one artist. Ooh. Well, shoot, who would I choose then? I mean, I guess I could do multiple seasons of that. Kandinsky for Mom, yep. Yeah, Kandinsky would be a good one. I mean, that might get a little repetitive after a while, just with all the different, or not organic, the very geometric shapes. I definitely don't want to do the Bauhaus period because it's very blocky. Andy Warhol would be a really interesting choice. It would be pretty interesting to do somebody like Picasso because he had such a wide range of eras, and I could kind of go through the art history of the artist and say this is their early career and then move forward into their later career and show how the garment, how the art style changes over time. And I could even potentially throw in some fashion history as well, kind of like choose silhouettes that would be indicative of the time frame. I don't know. What do we think about that? Because like Georgia O'Keeffe, her career. Okay, we're gonna do Georgia O'Keeffe. That's just what we're gonna do. We'll do that for August. I mean, gosh, she was 99 when she died, first of all. So that's crazy. But her stuff goes all the way back to 1926, and she painted right up until she died. So fashion from 1926 looks very different than the fashion from like 1960s and up to the 1980s. So, okay. was a mirror with snakes coming out of its head that was in a building built in the early 20s. Oh, like the Medusa mirror thing. That's an interesting piece because Medusa was, you know, a gorgon, and if you looked into her eyes, you would turn to stone. And so the way I think Perseus, was it Perseus? Yeah, pretty sure it was Perseus, who went in and used a mirror to throw it back at her face, and she turned to stone, and that's how he won. Okay, so yeah, Georgia O'Keeffe, but make it fashion. Oh, hi, Mom! Welcome, welcome. Georgia O'Keeffe, and then each episode is a different era of her art. And we'll do fashion from the same era. Guys, that's what's happening. So, great ideas, everybody. Especially my sister Becca. See, this is why it's fun to do this, because it feels very collaborative. And I can ask you questions, we can converse, we can chat about different ideas of what we're gonna do. So, yeah, that'll be August. I'm still gonna keep drawing today. I just had to get all of that out of my system. So, I'll plan this and choose a different piece for 8 different episodes, at least. Let me look at August. What does August look like? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes. Yeah, we can do 9 episodes of that in August. Whew. Well, that got me all excited for it. It's kind of like what I did with the first Elements But Make It Fashion, where I looked up the era in which it was discovered. In fact, let's, just in case, when was Samarium discovered? Maybe I'm accidentally doing it right. No, it was discovered in 1879. I've already done a Regency period piece. I don't need to do more. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm gonna make this about knee length to make it a really fun, flirty flapper dress. And what I want to do is where these braids up here are coming right after the waist, so kind of where the waist and the hip starts to diverge, if that makes sense. I want the braids to essentially fall apart into their individual strands. So each one will break into 3 strands that will then create this fringe that goes down the length of the body. I might have her leg peeking out a little bit. I don't know. That's something that I'll think about as I move. The silhouette on this will be pretty straightforward. And by straightforward, I mean like literally just straight up and down. Very, very drippy. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, erase that line. And what I'm going to do, well, let's see. Yeah, you know, female artists don't get enough attention in art school. And there's so many reasons for this. The big one is misogyny and sexism built into history. And what I mean by that is not just the misogyny and sexism that is within history, but because men typically were the ones writing the history, they're going to be looking at it from their point of view. So it's very Eurocentric and very male-centric. There's also an interesting, if you want to do more research on this, I would highly look at the Bauhaus movement of art. This was during the 1940s to I think the mid 1950s, so around World War II. Is I don't know why I'm like getting goosebumps talking about this. It's because I'm passionate about this. Is really what this is. So the Bauhaus movement is a really interesting turning point in art, and what we consider art. So during this time, that's when we got a lot of the fundamentals of art. This centered in Bauhaus, Germany, right before World War II, so I guess that would be like late 1930s. And there was a discussion on how the art world is structured, and by that I mean the different mediums of art. There's high art and there was low art, and painting, was one of the high arts. You had sculpture, you had jewelry making, and then you also actually had weaving. Weaving was one of those things that was considered a domestic art for a long time and has kind of gone back into that realm. But during the Bauhaus period, it was considered one of the high arts. There were some fantastic artists at the time. Annie Albers was one of the artists from that time who did a lot of textile arts. Well, her work was consistently downplayed because she was a woman, and this was also around the time that some people did not agree with the idea that textile arts were high arts. They were craft. And there's still, to this day, a huge debate on what people discuss when it comes to textile arts. So weaving, certain weaving, like tapestry weaving, some people might consider that high art, but weaving for like functional goods, so textiles, as far as like, scarves, linens, table runners, that kind of thing is considered craft. And then you have the breakdown of knitting, and you have crochet and all of that, where those are considered craft and not art. So I think it's a really fascinating interest. One of the reasons that a lot of this is considered craft and not art is because they were considered women's work. And so it's another form of the patriarchy, essentially squashing the voices of women in a community when they were underrepresented. I know that was like a whole long soapbox, but I think the Bauhaus movement is very fascinating because you do have a lot of women in art. This is near the time of, I don't know exactly when, I want to get my numbers and dates straight. Yeah, so abstract expressionism was a movement that was happening in America around the same time. And so you get a lot of crossover in abstract expressionism and the Bauhaus movement. And in America, the abstract expressionism movement was also one of the times where you were getting a lot of women in art, and they were getting downplayed by the men in their lives because they were women. Even though some of the best works from the abstract expressionism, in my opinion, come from the women artists of the day. I believe it was Jackson Pollock's who said something, I can't remember exactly. This is something that I'd have to do a lot more research on, and it's hard to do on the fly after being so, not inexperienced, but it's been a long time since my art history classes and since my research on some of this stuff. So anyways, I would highly recommend looking up people from the abstract expressionism era and the Bauhaus era, because that's one of the first times that we get this big influx of women in a community, but then history books downplay their role during that time. That's when we start to see a lot of women in art, and yet proportionally they are underrepresented. So big surprise there, right? We're still fighting for that stuff. Um, anyways, let's get back to some fashion, shall we? I can discuss a lot more of this stuff as we do the Georgia O'Keeffe but Make It Fashion. And what I'll do is also do some history of her, as well as her work and the history of the time. So I'm excited for this. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Okay, so here we are. And I'm, again, wanting to do a really drippy fringe at the bottom of this gown. We can imagine that there's going to be a slip underneath this, but I'm not going to go through the trouble of drawing a slip because we're not going to see it. And I'm going to go back to just illustrating scene, so you don't have to look at the top of my head. Okay. And I don't mind, like, I don't need this to be a perfectly straight line, but I don't want it to be too wiggly either. So I'm just gonna bring these down, these main lines here. And I'll do some cleanup as well. Like this one is kind of in an awkward position. Didn't like that. Okay. This one. Okay. So now I can come in and clean up some of these lines and then do the skinnier lines in between that show the braids basically unraveling. I like the idea of that. So the braids are unraveling into their separate fringe. Yeah, so, you know, as I'm cleaning these up, one thing that I would like to do, you know, with my life, with my privilege, you know, being a middle-class white guy, is highlight the voices that are so often underrepresented, wherever I can. And so I think Georgia O'Keeffe, I know that she's very, very popular, and certainly is not a minority, but, you know, I like her work, so I'll work with hers first. But yeah, I'd like to go through some maybe lesser known artists and people in general and amplify their art and amplify their voices because they deserve to be heard. One thing that I'll definitely need to do is take some of my mom's art and turn that into fashion too. Although we've been talking also about like literally making your art into fashion, so there's that. I still want to do that. Also, I want you all to know, again, thank you so much for taking the time out to watch and for liking and following all of my stuff. But you're also getting a lot of behind-the-scenes looks into my process, and you may very well see some of these on the runway in Vancouver next spring. You know, I'm keeping a really, really close eye on coronavirus, and will still be keeping a close eye on coronavirus as next year progresses, but I'm technically still on the schedule for Vancouver Fashion Week in 2021. So cross your fingers that we can get our crap together in America. Because frankly, I'd like to keep moving forward with my fashion career without worrying that it'll all get wrecked because of, you know, a virus. I was supposed to be there this March, and then it got delayed to April, and then it got canceled altogether. So, not super fun, not super... Didn't feel good to have that happen, but that's okay. Okay, oops. I need to change the brightness on my screen there. There we go. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Yeah, certainly I think the lightning gown has given me a lot to think about for a collection. And the potassium gown has given me a lot to think about in a collection. Whew, man, these lines are making my eyes crazy. Oh boy, okay. That one I'm only going to do the one because it doesn't really fit. The Georgia O'Keeffe one, I'm half tempted to reach out to the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum in Santa Fe and see if they'd be willing to let me work with them, if that makes sense. Okay. Wow, look at this. Beautiful. So now at the bottom here, I'm essentially just going to kind of create the fringe. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lion's Tooth. will listen to the audio when you put it on when I put it on YouTube. Cool. And yeah, Momming Like Molly, I will be able to use some florals. I mean, that's just one of the many things that she was famous for. Her Door series was something that actually really caught my eye when I was there before at the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. And she did a lot of those, I guess they were like the Portal series, if I remember correctly. And a lot of those she did towards the end of her life, but, you know, in a way they were almost like self-portraits. You know, ways of her looking inward at her own life. And you can almost tell the mood that she was in when she was painting them, based on the color palette that she uses, the way or direction in which the door is, or the portal, whatever, is placed. Is it in shadow? Is it in light? You know, it's those questions that I think we interpret in art. And of course, it could just be like, that's exactly what it looked like that day. But there's, you know, the question of, well, then why paint it that day, you know? So what I'm doing right now is I'm just thickening up some of these lines down at the bottom, because I have a feeling that when I do the flood effect with the color, it's gonna spill out right away. Yeah, so I will do something from her Door piece, or her Door series. Okay, I am gonna skip this piece because it's always so quiet. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I would highly recommend looking up that artwork. And shoot, maybe I'd have to take a trip to Santa Fe to do some research. That would be awful. Santa Fe is seriously one of my favorite places. Like, ugh, I love it. Okay. Wow. I really like this piece so far. Wow. Okay, I think I do want to do like an arm bracelet, essentially. And I'm gonna do it up on her bicep. And what I want to do is essentially create an Art Deco piece. That wraps around, we can imagine. Imagine this coming around here, and therefore coming around here. So that line in the middle, I'm gonna erase, but I wanted to get a nice reference of where it would wrap around her arm. just don't really love the angle of how these ones turned out, so we're gonna fix those while I'm over here. Yeah, the whole point here, no pun intended, of Art Deco was this very geometric shape. The only reason this one is curved in particular is because it's wrapping around her arm, so. And let's give her essentially a circlet. She looks like a goddess. Just wanted to make sure I was still on the right layer here. And I am, I felt paranoid, so. So I didn't go away, I'm just focusing. I'm also totally in the zone. Yes, the Crudwig tongue is out. Oh my god. Literally, I I noticed that as I looked up and saw that comment. Oh, that's funny. Okay, actually, I think this side is the one that would be on top. Oh, that's hilarious. That was good. Thank you for that. So for the in-joke on that one, everyone in my family does this. And it's when we're concentrating really, really hard on something, we all tend to do this. Or like where our tongue is just slightly sticking out of our mouth. Sometimes it's like more in the corner, or maybe it's right in the middle, but it's whenever we're concentrating on something, when we're working really hard on doing something, it's hilarious. It is hilarious that we do it. So, also I know it's probably pretty late to have coffee, but it's my second cup from earlier today that I've just kind of let get cold. But if you would like to know, it's from Found Familiar Coffee, and they're a fantastic coffee company that I found. They're basically like nerdy based coffees, and the one I'm drinking is the Cartographer's Blend. Super delicious, super smooth. I love it. I'm addicted to it. So I'll definitely be ordering more. I got a sample pack. Whoops. Come on. I got a sample pack to try out a couple of different flavors. Okay, why do I keep doing that? And I really liked that flavor, so yeah, that one, and I got Thieves' Cant, and the other one, which is called False Life, and that's a decaf, essentially. So maybe I'll have a cup of that a little bit later this afternoon when I want more coffee, but shouldn't have any more caffeine. Yeah. And other stories of me loving coffee. Beverages, but make it fashion. Okay, so I think the line art is done on this one, so now it's time to do the palette. I hope that someday this won't get really mad at me for having so many palettes. So I'm going to be sticking with this bottom portion of Samarium, and the reason that I'm doing that is because I like that rose gold effect. And I think the bulk of it is going to be in that shade. Maybe that darker shade would be good too. Because I am going to need to do some shading on this. What brand of headset? Oh, hi, Wakaba. What is this? Peozar. I don't know. It was kind of cheap on Amazon. But it's Peohzarr. And I like it. It's it works well. It has good sound. But I was using my earbuds a lot, and especially with this move to working from home exclusively, I've found that I knew what you meant, don't worry. I found that the earbuds were really irritating the insides of my ears, especially in the heat. It's just not been pleasant, so. Okay. I've got some good tones here. And this top knot is actually almost fully fledged ponytail now. It just looks like a top knot because the hair is sticking back for once. Okay, so it's time to add a new layer, and we're going to use the line art layer as our reference layer and move up. And I need to pick a base color for this, so I think this mid-tone here is going to be a good choice for this. And the joy is that means that I'm going to need to go into every individual cell and dump color in here. Okay, I think I'm actually going to move into the slightly lighter tone. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, and then I'll use the lights and the shade. Yeah. To make it really look shiny. Would I braid the top and then the skirt as a whole piece or strips? I didn't say this already, and so what I would do is create braided strips, essentially, and then then what I would do is attach them together. And what I would even potentially do is do an underlayment, like a slip or an underskirt, that I could attach the braiding to. But then at the end where the braids are like all frayed, is I would top stitch the section of where the braids separate. And what that would allow me to do is then leave them in those strips. Yeah, so I'm going to go into a lot of detail with this one, with the shading. Oh, I can... There we go. And also with the texture brush, because I'm going to want this to look like fabric that has been braided. And to do that, I do have a special brush that I think will work just fine. No, undo. One thing that might have helped this would have been doing all of these details in the braids on a separate layer, but honestly, I would have smushed them down anyway, so it's okay. It makes the live stream longer and more fun. Right? We're all having fun? I know I'm having fun, so I don't know about all you lot, but... Yeah, I'd have to use a really thin fabric for this too, because I wouldn't want the braids to be too bulky and cause any like lumpy sections. Very few people look at fashion and go, you know what, I want to look extra lumpy. It's usually not the case. Also, Wakaba, if you don't mind, Alex, it's nice to see you. It's been a while since I've seen your name around these parts. know I stream during your workday, so sorry. What just happened? Okay. And this is definitely one of those pieces that I will try to finish on stream, but by no means do you need to stay and watch the whole thing. If you have stuff to do, don't worry. I just might be streaming for an extra amount of time today. I mean, it's only 3:30. I usually stream until 4. But today might go even longer than that, with all the detail. And also, anybody who's catching the replay of this, either on YouTube or here on Twitch, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to follow me here on Twitch. You know, I'm not super gung-ho on, like, I need to make affiliate, but if I do make affiliate, I do actually get a kickback a little bit. I also get to have some fun with emotes. I can make some custom emotes. And if you are watching me on YouTube right now, which I know this is live, but once this is the playback, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you get notified every time I upload a new piece, or a new video. I have plans on filming a new fashion video this week. If I can muster the time and energy to do it, I will do it. Because I still have to do that 3 fabric challenge. But I think my plans are changing on that, so I need to do some brainstorming on that particular piece. Oops. Oh, thanks, Alex. I didn't realize that you did that. Thank you. That does help with the views, so... Come on, undo. Not gonna lie, though, this is, it's fun to be able to do this digitally, although rendering this by hand, this is a situation where it might actually be easier to render this part by hand. But, you know, we take what we can get. What was the coffee brand I mentioned earlier? It is Found Familiar. Let me actually, I'll go grab it real quick, and I'll be right back. I'll grab that. I also need to drink some water. It's been an hour and a half, and I need to also let my ears be less hot. So I'll be right back, everybody. One moment. Cool. I am back. So, sorry, I also snuck in some M&Ms. They were delicious. So the coffee that I'm currently drinking is this. So this is Found Familiar coffee, and it's foundfamiliar.com. I think you can see barely. Let's see if I get my face out of the way. Right here, foundfamiliar.com. And this is the Cartographer's Blend, which was a collaboration with a map maker named Devin Rue, but it's a South America blend, medium roast, and it's really good. It's really mellow, and that's something that I really like in the morning, is just something that's not too punchy. It gives me enough of a jolt that it's like, ah, yes, this is coffee, but it's subtle in its flavor, so I like it. The flavor notes are red apple, praline, and brown sugar, and yeah, I get the praline quite a bit out of there. Like there is like a caramelized flavor, almost kind of nutty. And then the other one that I got that I've tried is Thieves' Cant, and it's a secret blend of theirs. Black cherry, toffee, and toasted almonds. This one has a little bit more of a bite to it. And then the other sample I got was False Life Decaf Espresso, and it has notes of graham cracker, cocoa, and vanilla. So I haven't tried this one yet. I might make, again, like I said, I might make a pot of this afternoon. You know, I do have a D&D game tonight, so I guess I will be up pretty late anyway. So it doesn't really matter if I drink decaf, but might as well try it. Yeah, and you can also see, that's just my curly hair, Alex, that's in a ponytail. I would take it out of the ponytail, but it is so humid here right now that when my hair is not put away, it's just poofy. So let's just say it's a little crazy, and I don't really want to deal with it right now. And it's fine. It's fine. I kind of look like Zuko from The Last Airbender. Let me be really moody. Anywho's, let's get back to illustrating, shall we? So I'm just gonna keep filling in, oops, these spots. I was also burning a candle from another one of my favorite companies that's actually based out here in Los Angeles called Cantrip Candles. And yes, they're also nerdy candles. I've kind of fallen heavily down that path a little bit, but mostly they're the candles that smell the best and also have some more masculine scents, which I like. I'm not a huge floral scent fan. But, you know, pretty much if it smells good, I'm gonna like it. Ooh, that got a little loud. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so it's called Cantrip Candles, and I have four of them right now. One called Sweet Farmhouse Fig, and that one smells really good. It's fruity, but not overpowering fruity. And then I have Gold Wheat Bakery, which makes me hungry every time that I put it on, because it literally smells like bread baking. It has kind of like a yeasty smell, which I like. And then I have the Blackhound Tavern, which smells like whiskey and kind of like smoky. And then the other one I have is Coffee Shop, and it smells a little bit like a mocha, in my opinion. But I like them, and it's a locally owned company out here in Los Angeles, and I like supporting them. Okay. I also learned with candles, this is something I learned from the candle maker, is that once you have a pool of wax that's melted, you should actually blow out the candle and just let the scents basically come up off of the melted wax instead of continuing to burn the wax. It'll make your candle last longer, and it reduces the volatile smell that you can sometimes get from burning a candle for a long time. So, I am all for that. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna come back here for a second. Is that you'll notice that there's these really bright highlights and these really dark lowlights. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do the lowlights first with that dark kind of goldy brown color. And I'm gonna switch my brush to the dry brush. This has a really interesting effect that makes it really jagged, and it should make it look like folded fabric or scrunched up fabric. I'll have to share with you the other brush that I invented. It's a scale brush to do snake scales. I'm working on an art piece right now that I needed thousands of snake scales, and frankly, let's see. I started doing them all one by one by hand, and let's just say I started to just get a little annoyed. I made it through an eighth of the piece I was working on by hand drawing the scales, and I just had to stop. Okay, so I'm adding a new layer for this, and then I'll merge it later, but this allows me to do a clipping mask. So when I am doing this, it won't extend past anything. And I actually need to make it a little bit smaller. And I will probably do some shading as well. But I want to get this detail down first, then the shade, and then the highlight, because then that should blend better. And I am trying to go on the grain of the fabric. That way it looks like there is some fabric flow. Or directionality, at least, with the fabric. Now I can't hear the music at all. There we go. Yeah, you can already see that this is looking a lot more like a multi-dimensional fabric as opposed to just coloring. Oh, it's like, why? I hate when I accidentally hit my... So if I hit my Apple Pencil twice, it changes to the eraser brush, and then if I tap it again twice, it goes back to the regular brush that I was using. And every now and again, I'll accidentally hit it somehow. I'm not exactly sure how. And I think it happens when I change the grip on the pencil. It's very annoying, because it'll switch to the eraser and then it's like, well, shoot. I know this is looking kind of weird at first, but I can see where this is going to go, if that makes sense. Like, I know it kind of just looks like dirt or something, but I just have to have faith and trust in the process. Oh, thanks. I'm glad the texture is cool. It does look... I'm starting to panic a little bit, but I think it'll be fine. Luckily, when I get down to the skirt, I can just, it all goes in the same direction, so I can just go crazy. This is probably the most detailed piece I have ever done. And I'm not even sure you'll be able to tell from far away. But like, it's okay. I am doing these in high res, in case I ever want to get these printed. And also, what I need to do is update my website too, which, if you're still listening, it's benjamincollyn.com. Because I could always sell some art prints, but also just share the high-res images. Cute. Okay. And add another layer. Smush these two layers together. Do a clipping mask on this layer. Go to an airbrush. And I'm actually going to use the same tone. Okay, but not that big. Oy. Would I do any beading on this piece? You know, I just might. It's one of those things that it would be something to test. Because like I'd want to know what the placement is of the beads, like where would I put them? And the only places that I can really think about would be somewhere on the bodice, or like even around the neck, where the braid goes around the neck to create what would almost look like a necklace. I think that would look really pretty. You know, I think something that's really important when doing art like this is, like I kind of mentioned, is even though I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to even see the detail on this, the important thing is that I would be able to see if the detail wasn't on this. Like, you can even see from far away right now. Oh, I didn't do the sandals. Ha! I'll do those in a little bit. I'm going to do a dark brown on those probably to make them like a gladiator sandal. On that right side of the braid, then, like, yeah, on the right side of the braid, if I can say that, you can see the shading, and on the left side, I didn't put any, and you can see how different those two sides look. You can hear a little bit. Was I just being a little quiet? Let me just check my input capture. Oh yeah, I was being a little quiet. I'm sorry about that. I can pump that up a little bit more. Okay. So what I'm doing is just basically shading where the braid is getting overlapped by the other bit. And that's going to also include this section here. But it's just underneath that line art. All right, well, I love you, Mama. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy dinner. Say hi to Dad. I may be here in 5 hours. I don't know. It's good practice, because maybe someday I'll do a 24-hour live stream or something where I just design all the time. They're just regular sandals. But the way that they draw their feet is that it is basically available for a high heel. But I feel like high heels always look really, really weird on these drawings. The way that the proportions are. So I like the sandals. It makes it feel very, like, free and exciting. A fun thing that I'm going to do coming up soon is I am going to try my hand at some small-scale animation. So it's something I've learned how to do on Procreate, and I have yet to try it. Oh no, Lion's Tooth, your internet isn't working at all? Okay, I'm sorry. And for once, I can actually say with confidence that it wasn't my internet. It's actually kind of working today. Yay! I've finally broken my curse. And of course, I will need to go in and do my shading for like the waist line here, and I haven't done any of the shading on the headpiece or the armband, or even done the color on the sandals, so it's fun though, you know. I'm enjoying my time, and I would be doing this alone anyway, so at least I have some company. Oh. I see. It's your internet, not my audio. Haha. Gotcha. Okay. And I will come in and shade each. Oh man, this is crazy. I am going to shade each of the fringe pieces, I guess. Because I think that will also be pretty obvious if I don't do that. So. Okay, but I'm going to return up here to do the next braid. Let's do this one. And let's just make it a little bit smaller. Do you see how much dimension this is giving? It's amazing what a simple drop shadow can do. Okay, I am gonna have to take out my hair. It's pulling a little too hard. There we go. Oh, much better. Giving me a little bit of a headache there. That was not very helpful when you're trying to stream. Nice. The music is very chill today. It's like the same stuff that I normally play, but it's really zoning me out today. And I'm not mad about it. Not sure how I missed that part right there. On all of them. Okay. Ooh, some music that I've been listening to, by the way. That's not, you know, this, because this won't get me in trouble on YouTube if I post it. I have been listening to the new music from Pentatonics these last couple of days. I know a few of you know who Pentatonics is, but if you don't, excuse me, they are a wonderful a cappella group. For a second, I forgot the word for that. That was coronavirus brain. Yeah, a cappella group that are freaking amazing. Probably one of the best out there, if I do say so myself. But they've done a couple of great covers on their latest album that they're doing well. Each of them are stuck at home. They did a cover of When the Party's Over by Billie Eilish, which I think is really good. I love Billie Eilish. Her music is fantastic. And they just did such a great job with that piece. They did Blinding Lights, which is another good one. Great cover. They did like a medley with different songs that have home in the title because they're all stuck at home. Oh, hi, Adventurers Pack! Or Scott, if you will. How did the Cthulhu painting go? Or assembly? weighs a good chunk. I mean, it's a ginormous model. I can't even call it a mini. It is huge. Absolutely huge. But I'm glad that he's pretty much put together. Your arms are tired. Oh, and thank you. Yeah, I'm really liking how this is turning out. I'll show you the big picture of it shortly. But I'm currently shading all of these little folds. And then I need to go back and do some highlighting and do some other fun stuff. I don't know if I'm going to finish this tonight, guys. Like, I don't mind streaming for a long time, but like if it gets above 3 hours, I'm gonna feel bad for like making you guys just like exhausted. I don't know. But this is what happens when you have a lot of detail. And I'm not mad about that either. Okay, before I do the shading, wow, the shadowing. This is what we're looking at so far. But I'm gonna have to go in and do the skirt as well. And then I think I actually need to thicken up, oops, the shading up in here. It's just not reading. Guess I also need to shade because it's the side. The general shading here. Yeah, maybe I could do part 2 on Wednesday. I might need to. I don't mind. Like, I'm having a good time. And I'm not exhausted yet. But, like, I still have the rest of the skirt to shade and highlight. I have the headpiece to highlight and shade, the arm piece to highlight and shade, the shoes to do completely, the whole body to shade and, well, color, shade, and highlight. So yeah, I will keep going with this on Wednesday. That's a good idea. So, yeah, let's go here. Oh, you can see. Hold on. There we go. That was crazy looking. So I will continue this particular outfit on Wednesday, and yeah, I will work on that. So thank you all for showing up, and those of you who just joined me, I am wrapping up. So please don't forget to hit the follow button down below or up above. I don't know where it is. I think it's down below. And I will see you guys on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I will do part 2 on this particular gown or dress. And then Friday is going to be 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, doing the Ankeg D&D but make it fashion. So there's that. And yeah, so thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see the time lapses of these ever, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram, which is instagram.com/Benjamin_Collyn. I need to set up my profile so I can put links and stuff down below. And what else should I mention? I can't remember. It's fine. So I will see you all later. I hope you have a great week, a great couple of days before I see you again. And just, stay happy, stay creative, stay loving, and stay safe. All right. Bye, everybody.